Welcome, my digital pathology trailblazers. We are reporting live from the Digital Diagnostics Summit, and I'm here with a special guest, Imogen Fit from Signify Research. Yes, we have several cameras, so just bear with me. And I see people joining. You are amazing. Leave me something in the chat. Let me know. Give us some hi in the chat. What time it is and where you're tuning in from. I'm just going to show you. I have this other camera that we're trying to set up so that we have good footage for everything for the podcast. But we are in Park City. I have to also look at the right camera. So, that before we go to the fun stuff that we did, and I'm not going to reveal yet what it is, because we did a super cool excursion, and maybe you've seen on LinkedIn, so it's not a mystery. Uh, let's talk about the through line and topic of the summit. So the summit is organized by Lumea. Lumea is a digital pathology company, a software company that enables labs to go digital. Not only software, they have hardware as well. Yeah, please. I'm gonna get some comments from Lumea people that I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I know what they're doing. But the important thing is that this summit is, the theme is climbing the digital pathology mountain. And who is coming here? It's a little bit different because it's a conference, but it's actually a retreat. And it's small. Like, how many people do we have? Less than 100. I'm going to just
Sorry, less than 150.
clear
If you can't hear
my
me.
a little bit here.
It's more intimate than other events.
Yeah, less than 100 people. And it's those, I would say, those who are pretty high on the digital pathology mountain, or who are already like waving at us from the top and trying to help us, and basically guide us. And that was the through line of the event. Did you attend the keynote from the
Yes.
Everest climber? Any
honestly,
takeaways?
So I had to leave for a short bit, and I came back in, and the vibe of the room was completely different. Like, everybody was
Oh no, you missed
silent.
the key moment.
And I know, but honestly, like, just watching everybody else's reactions, they were just astounded by this story and how this guy had not. I think he summited Mount Everest twice, not once. And as he was sort of talking and comparing that to resilience and all the kind of themes that you need when you're a pioneer in innovation, I knew that the rest of the audience had massively enjoyed the talk. So
it was amazing. So basically, the story was, long story short, was that we had a person who actually climbed Mount Everest, right? And he didn't achieve it in the first attempt. And that was kind of one of the messages. And let me just say hi to everybody who's saying something in the comments. Okay, we have people from San Jose, California, so it's not that late for you guys. It's the same hour, 6?
yeah,
Six? Okay. Whoever is joining, let me know. So he climbed Mount Everest, didn't do it in the first attempt, needed help, and succeeded in the second attempt. And obviously, there was a lot of lessons learned, but one of the lessons is you may not succeed in the first attempt, right? And if you really want to do it, then you're gonna do it, and you're gonna find people who help you. And when I have some notes from Lumea team, and also my notes. So, did you attend Orly's talk?
Yeah, that was really good. I think she got notified that she'd be doing it the evening before. So
oh well, good. Like,
she kind of
well done.
she kind of shared the sort of the story from MSK and some lessons that she'd learned, and some of the takeaways that I think the rest of us were kind of familiar with, but needed to hear again and again, because it's important to really drill down and not forget about the real foundation that underpins digital pathology, rather than sort of moving on and saying, oh, something new, something exciting, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's always lovely to hear from all of you.
And we're going to get to like new, exciting, useful, and useless about your panel, because Imogen was leading a panel. But so one of the things that she said that stayed with me was maybe you don't need to make it to the top on your own. Maybe you can just make it to the base camp and then find partners who are gonna, like, I don't know, carry the torch is maybe not the good metaphor, because there's not enough oxygen to carry any torches. But basically, to continue the digital pathology journey, um, and you're still successful, because what it is, it's about uh, gains for the providers and gains for the patients, right? So if you can achieve that by partnering, it's even better, right? You don't have to do it all alone. And
I mean, that was one of the topics that was picked up in the executive roundtable before the conference began, was that labs and vendors are not going to be good at everything, and what's important really to drive the industry forward is that collaboration between both pathologists and the vendors, but also as part of the healthcare systems that you're in as well. So radiology is a big theme that's come into it, but there's wider diagnostics. Hi.
Hello, we have Lumea team. Come and wave. We're streaming from your summit. I have my bag. I have everything, and we're live. Lumea team saying hi from this beautiful St. Regis Hotel.
Oh, it's lovely.
Hi. That's so cool that you guys joined. So yeah, Lumea team is welcoming us, and I see also greetings to Ottawa in Canada. Fantastic. So yeah, vendors and labs collaboration. So one thing that was also important, that was said by Wes. What's Wes's last name? Do we know?
Wesley.
Wesley is the first name, but do we know his last name? We're gonna Google him in the meantime. Or put him in the chat. But basically, do you remember his last name?
He's a pathologist who runs that practice.
Yeah.
He's a managing director.
Yeah, so he says that you need to own and know your workflow in and out, because vendors are going to collaborate. Vendors have like a piece of your solution, but they don't know what you need. You know what you need. So you need to communicate it well, and also pick the tools that are going to help you. And another comment from Dr. Kapoor was that he was funny, because like when you ask people why would you climb the Everest, and one of the, like, I don't know, I've heard this response, I don't know if it's a quote or something, because it's there, and he said, like, what a stupid reason to do something. Like, why would you do digital pathology just because you can? No, you will.
There are so many different reasons as well. So
Exactly, right? But because you can is none of them when it comes to digital pathology. So like, evaluate where you are, like start with the basic, like what Orly said, and uh, like see, can you maybe partner? Do you need it at this moment? Which part of this solution do you need? And when you know that you need it, because it's gonna make the life of the providers and the life of the patients better, then go embark on this journey and find everything you need, the right equipment.
Bernhardt. Bernhardt, that was his last name. Wesley Bernhardt.
Wesley Burnham. Yeah.
Bernhardt. German.
Okay, Bernhardt.
Yeah, but one of his and all his, to be fair, key takeaways was that the journey to go digital is going to be individual to practices, and we have to start out by figuring out, successful, what are the key outcomes that I in my institution want for this, because if you don't have that at the forefront of your mind first, then it becomes very difficult to decide later down the line as well.
Super important keyword, the outcomes, because I think especially when you're at the beginning of the journey, you look like for a blueprint, like what are the steps to take, and it's rather, okay, what are the outcomes that I want to achieve, and then like working backwards, right?
Yeah, and we talked a bit about value, and what does that actual value from digital pathology mean to you? Is it things like
What
improved
did people
efficiency?
mention?
Well, they were talking about like improved efficiency, contributing to research meaningfully, like actually improving patient outcomes. There were small topics like data monetization for just sort of offsetting digital pathology costs.
Yes.
This is quite additive. It meant something very different to everybody, and I think the underlying sort of theme as well was that the stakeholders that I talked to were very serious about their role as sort of custodians of that data, and that if they're going to go digital, then they should really be able to make use of it to its fullest, and make sure that they track things like patient outcomes, like that improvement of pathologist workflow, and things like that.
Yeah, I like the word custodians, and that ties into kind of Lumea's heritage, because one of the founder was Dr. Matt Levitt, and he's now the founder of the Digital Diagnostics Foundation. And their mission is to basically be the honest broker, be the custodian, be the guardian of the data that, on one hand, protects the patients and makes sure that everything is covered on that, and on the other side, makes it possible for institutions to do ethical, transparent research with the data that they have. And they also have like different sources of the data, so it's not just like one populations. They have different demographics, also very a lot of underrepresented demographics in the data, especially in the time of personalized medicine. Like, it's not going to be one algorithm fits all. Yeah, but before we talk about the fun stuff that we did and all the discussions that we had there, let's talk about your panel. What did you lead? What was the topic of the panel? Who were your guests, and what were the takeaways?
So I led the panel was essentially talking about the essential components of the digital pathology toolkit, what you need to go digital, and what's kind of like the fat and the trimmings, the stuff you can do without.
I like they use this word dead weight.
Yeah, dead weight was something we discussed quite thoroughly. So I think we had Andy, we had Giovanni, a few key stakeholders, Greg as well. So and Giovanni, I mean, do I have to introduce him? I feel like everybody knows him.
I just let's say their first and last name, because we kind of meet them at every conference. You're gonna see them at every conference, and sometimes I forget their last name. Giovanni Lujan, I remember his last name.
Gregory Osmond, and Adam Cole, because I'm terrible with last names. So Gregory had founded previously a company called Pathology Watch, which recently got acquired by Pathology.
By the way, and also we're a guest on the Digital Pathology podcast, and Dr. Adam Cole was a guest on the Digital Pathology podcast, and so was Giovanni Lujan. So if you want to know who these people are, listen to the podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
As well.
Go check them out. And so what we kind of discussed, we were like, what were your favorite tools going digital? What was it that really spun the needle in terms of making your life easier? What was something that you maybe wasted money on and you didn't really like? And I think some of the key themes that came about was, it's not necessarily always about a single tool. It's about how that tool is actually embedded into the workflow and the impact it has on the workflow. Because it can do amazing things, but at the end of the day, if it sort of replicates what the pathologist can do in 3 seconds, then it's worthless. Or if it's a really useful tool, but you have to open 10 pop-up window every time you want to use it, or you want to change that, sort of modify the results. Again, it just adds to the work. Nobody wants BHR user burnout replicated in digital pathology. I mean, I did probe a bit further. I was, come on now, let's have some specific tools.
Did you ask them any tough questions?
So we avoided.
What did you waste money on?
Well, so we avoided specific vendor, like specific vendors, but things that got mentioned were QA, like QA tools, and I think that was Greg, if I'm wrong. Greg had sort of spoken about how he found them really useful because demonstratively they caught missing cases that they added that kind of digital safety net underneath it.
Sorry to interrupt you. Our camera is doing funniness. It's moving. It's not showing both of us. Oh my goodness.
Why is it doing that?
Guys, because
is my face that photogenic?
It's exactly. I think it focuses on the person that speaks. So I just let it do, let
okay.
it do its thing.
Get closer and see if it.
Yeah, we're just stay very close. Oh my goodness, it zooms in.
Um,
Come on, camera, we
so,
can do
so
it.
we had things about
Okay.
QA tools
Mhm,
and self-counting software, stuff that you kind of know, but it just saves your time to just not have to go sit there and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those
Yeah.
sorts of pieces were really, really useful. We also, the conversation veered off a little bit as well towards the kind of the future of digital pathology AI, because AI is obviously a big focus when you think of digital pathology tools. And we started talking about digital companion diagnostics, personalized medicine, and where that's going.
Exactly, because this is something we were talking at the fun activity as well, and the fun activity was horse riding. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of footage from horse riding. We went on a trail, and it was fun.
It was the best. Honestly, if you ever get a chance to visit Utah at this time of the year, the colours, I couldn't have expected it. And I didn't expect to be going up and downhill on a horse either. I'm really, really grateful for. Was it Greg that held me? And you had Slim. Yeah. And they were best friends.
Yeah, our horses were best buddies. Yeah, basically we were just Imogen was first, so when you look at the vlog later, she's gonna be my main character in the vlog because she was like, "You're back," basically. But yeah, so we were riding horses, and so this is also another cool thing about the summit, that you have these excursions. So the day basically ends like at 12, right? We eat lunch, and then everybody goes to play together. And last year I went to ATVs. You were in here last year, right?
No, but you
Yeah.
had fun.
So we had fun ATVs. I had my whole family, and this year I couldn't bring them all, but I came and I picked the horse riding. So we did do.
Didn't regret it, did you?
No, it was so beautiful because now the colors are so beautiful and the weather was just perfect, perfect excursion. But on this excursion, we were talking about digital diagnostics.
Yeah, and you got to talk to everybody that went there. I felt like that was it was a lot easier to kind of just spend more time nurturing, essentially.
Yeah, and it's a different environment, you know. We go to a lot of conferences. You can go to more conferences. Yeah, you have like often the same people, and this you do the same things. You like walk around the exhibit hall, lectures, and then you go for dinner. And this is just like taking you out of your comfort zone, and I think it just sparks different type of conversation when you're in a different environment. You
start the technology of the digital pathology got you excited.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because one thing was like, what is the most exciting thing in the health tech space? Yeah, health tech space. So tell what was yours, and then I will tell mine.
I just find 3D printing fascinating. And then
3D cell printing.
Yeah, specifically because you can do the prosthetics, you can do like like the bits for surgery, and that's obviously very useful and coming in the near term. But like 3D cell printing a heart onto it, yeah, I find that fascinating. If anyone wants to talk about it, but then yours was also equally kind of like,
yeah. So I recently learned about synthetic blood, like without antigens, non-antigenic synthetic blood. That I think they started working on it and using it in Japan, and it has a longer shelf life than the blood from humans, and also the main reason of unsuccessful blood transfusion is because there is no match or there is no testing to see if it's a match. So you basically like waste blood, and then now they have a synthetic thing that looks like strawberry milk in a blood bag. I'm gonna explore a little bit deeper this topic because that was my.
It was fascinating when you were talking about it. Yeah, I'd love to learn more about that.
I need to find the publication. But going back to the topic of personalized image-based diagnostics.
Yes, digital CDX.
Digital CDX. So one of the CDXs that is kind of already famous since last year is the one created, discovered, I don't know what you call them. Developed, good word, developed by AstraZeneca. So they have a biomarker, image-based biomarker, IHC, for TROP2 or TORP2. We need to Google. I always forget what TROP2. So interesting thing about this biomarker is not that it's like IHC on an image, like there are plenty of biomarkers like that, but that the predictive value of this thing is in the ratio between cytoplasmic and the membrane staining. So basically, something that a human cannot calculate in their mind. So there's no human pathologist ground truth. There's not going to be a comparison to pathologist scoring. It's all based on comparison to outcomes, and this is how they guide clinical trial enrollment for that particular medicine that they have that targets this pathway and this biomarker. But I thought this was fascinating because it kind of takes us out of this space of pathologist is the ground truth, which I don't want to say that pathologists are not a good ground truth because we're doing our best always, but we're like limited by the physiology of our eyes, and definitely calculating ratio of intensities in cell is not something I would want to do visually. But that's just one, and you said that there's this space is growing.
Yeah, the space is growing. There's so I can't speak about any like individually because they're not.
Let's talk
they're not
about
public yet.
concepts.
But pharma is a lot of different pharma players are working on different digital CDX algorithms for different indications. So AstraZeneca's obviously.
Oh, we
working with
have
their
our
genes and,
users. Look, they are helping. TROP2, normalized membrane ratio. You guys are amazing. You are digital pathology trailblazers helping us out in this live stream. I love it. You are so cool. Thank you so much. Where are you tuning in from? We want to give a shout out to your place as well. And yeah, I of course interrupted the flow of your
Oh
conversation.
no, well, there's nothing too specific that I can talk about because it's the reason that you see many pharma companies investing in digital pathology is they're using it for biomarker discovery, but they're also thinking about that kind of commercial opportunity with pairing it with an algorithm. So pharma is, as it's developing more and more personalized therapies, ADCs, antibody drug conjugates, is a massive trend that's seen as the future, one of the forefronts of healthcare. They are realizing that they are so fine-tuned to a specific population, but they also need to be able to better identify who's going to be able to respond to those, and because not everybody will. And part of the digital pathology programs at pharma is in identifying whether or not there's an image-based algorithm that can correctly identify candidates for these drugs that are coming through. Now there are lots and lots, probably hundreds of, and most vendors are either talking to pharma or already working on something based on this. So with AstraZeneca in partnership with Daiichi Sankyo and obviously Roche as a digital pathology vendor platform, with them announcing breakthrough device designations first of a single effect. So we will see more over the next couple of years. So yeah, it's something that's really exciting, and that I think a lot of pathologists that speak to pharma are really excited about as well. Because there's so much about image that you don't necessarily know. That you measure things like the spatial relationship between different characters, different kind of like features and phenotypes. There's things like spatial biology comes into it to a certain extent. The low plex, obviously high is more of like an early stage kind of play at the minute, and probably will be for a very long time. But it's something that if you're interested in,
and also low plex,
research,
like when you think of scaling and commercializing,
it's different.
even when you do high plex for discovery and for identifying, you then want to like figure out how to distill it.
It's so expensive, and the data storage is even worse than digital pathology in general. So high plex, but we're not thinking that that's going to come into the clinic in the next 5 years. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and also I don't think it needs to be a clinical tool unless there is something that
measurable of value that it adds.
Exactly. So I see it very much as a discovery tool, but
that's why you saw them so recently get into it. They announced a lot.
I know Moxiplex, and I'm going to SITSI, and there's going to be a video about Moxiplex. Yes. And tomorrow there's going to be a video about. So it's not going to be live because it's kind of just closed door for the not members, for the participants of this summit. But we're going to be visiting a lab installation where Lumea has their installation, and Hamamatsu scanners are there as well. And there's going to be a video coming out, so stay tuned for that. What I wanted to address about the image biomarkers is because we had this discussion. Okay, like people think, oh, it's going to now massively accelerate the drug development timeline.
Yeah.
And how I see it, I don't think so, because it's more of identifying new things, new.
So I don't think that's going to accelerate the drug development timeline, but there's certain bits of it, like digital pathology, that's used in clinical trials to sort of aid the identification of digital.
Let's do a shout out to Prussia and talk about what they did, because I thought that was an interesting like creating this hub.
So I encourage you to go to the press release, but Prussia's recently announced Aperture, which is essentially something that they've launched to enable and facilitate better patient enrollment in clinical trials, but also sort of better sort of measurement and quantification of biomarker studies when they're available. So Prussia serves both pharma, life sciences, and clinical players, and they're looking at bridging that gap between the two. Pharma's always looking for more clinical data. They're always to supplement what exactly it is that they're doing. And Prussia has launched Aperture as a way to provide added benefit to clinical users as well, because if you sort of enroll patients in a clinical trial, you get some revenue from that. So as opposed to digital pathology costing, this is something that provides a little bit of value back for those that choose to adopt and make use of it, essentially. I do find it exciting.
It's I think it's kind of a logical concept, right? So they're an image management system, like at the core, and then they have a lot more in this. They're pretty powerful. So on the clinical side, the diagnosticians are basically using it to review cases, and then you said there's like some kind of alert system that matches the clinical trials and the
because the pathology system is kind of like that software system where the diagnosis is made. It's like it goes then to the EHR, the diagnosis.
Okay.
But immediately in the digital pathology IMS that patient has been flagged as having that condition. So at that point, Prussia's software enables, if it's been sort of flagged and turned on, the notification if that patient already qualifies for a study of the life sciences to the life sciences provider and to the provider of the healthcare, without sharing anything that's patient identified.
But basically like pinging.
Yeah, and pinging and saying, hey, did you know that this might be useful if you wanted? So that's
and after so I kind of peripherally know how difficult it is to manage a clinical trial from conversation. So my husband, he is working for a pharma company that is running one right now, and it's difficult. Then I had obviously guests on the podcast who work in clinical trials and just praise the value of digital pathology in the recent podcast that was not the most recent, like 2 podcasts ago. Monica Lamba Saini and Tom Kimper from Barco, they were talking about color and different things, but also emphasizing how important that is for clinical trials. Like the management, and especially of global ones, it's like crazy. Like I don't know how people ever manage to run trials without digital pathology and keep managing doing that. Like to me, it's like the most logical application. It's not mainstream yet, unfortunately. But yeah, creating this hub where everybody who runs trials can get like alerts that there are potential candidates for the trials, and for the patients. Like I have personal stories where people were waiting for diagnosis for a month, and then the trial opportunity was gone. So
it's really interesting. I'm excited to see what end users essentially how well they accept it, how quickly they adopt it, but also what they end up using it for, because it's probably one of those applications where you're surprised as well at the limited ways that users
Yeah,
start to figure things
yeah,
out.
I think so. So yeah, basically climbing the digital pathology mountain, and I don't know, it was a theme or maybe just something that came to my mind. It's like, um, people are making noise around here.
Having fun.
They're
Damn,
having fun.
damn.
No, we're almost done, guys. Don't go yet. One last sentence is that I know this environment is so intimate because it's so few people, and you do like these different things, and you meet people who have already like achieved what many institutions are striving for, and you meet them in an environment where you have the like you don't only see them on stage and you think, oh, this is the highly recognized expert, and let me read his papers. You basically can talk to them and see how open and how willing they are to help anybody who's starting. And one nice thing from last year. There are also a few pathologists, so it's not just pathologists. There are pathologists here, but a lot of decision makers, a lot of pathologist entrepreneurs or physician entrepreneurs, managers, vendors. So it's very much um, like the deal makers of this industry as well, and analysts, some podcasters as well, vloggers also make it into the mix. But for example, last year I remember a person who just was like getting into this space. She is a practicing pathologist, and she was looking for a remote digital job. And today I meet her, and she says, "I am working fully digital, fully remotely." I'm like, yes, the way to go. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me, Imogen. Thank you so much. I don't know which camera to look at. This one is my main one. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for staying till the end. And this means you are at Digital Pathology Trailblazers. If you're considering conferences for next year, definitely consider this one. And like very powerful event, very intimate and fun in a fun place. I hope we can do this next year again, right?
I hope so too.
If not, then at Path Visions, and if
we'll
not,
get
then
Path Visions
at
soon.
Global Engage, or
We're going to be at Path Vision soon, aren't we?
yeah, like
We're
in
both
2
out in
weeks.
San Diego,
So
so come say
yeah,
hi.
if you guys are at Path Visions, I'm gonna organize a lunch. I'm gonna send you join my email list. Let me put this link for the email list, and also when you join it, when you scan this code, you also will get the book, not the paper version, but the digital version. And you're going to be on my email list, and then I'm going to let you know if you're going to Path Visions, when is lunch, and I'm definitely inviting Imogen for lunch. So see you there.
Thank you.
Talk to you in the next episode. Bye.